The magic if. The acting secret that changes everything. Every actor feels the same challenge. How to live truthfully in a world that does not exist. That's where imagination becomes magic. Specifically, the magic if. Hi, I'm Dawnnie Mercado, and you are now in week 5, Mastering the Basics of Acting. Today's lesson is about the magic if and how it becomes the foundation for truthful acting. I've been teaching acting to kids and teens for over 30 years, and if you're just finding me, the complete playlist will be linked to this lesson. Stanislavski, who we talked about back in episode 1, is known to many as the father of modern acting. One of the greatest gifts he gave actors is something called the magic if. He said, if acts as a lever to lift us out of reality and into imagination. So what exactly is this? This word if changes everything. Just think about it. It allows you to believe without lying to yourself. Ask yourself these questions. What if I really were this person? What if I stood to lose everything? What if this moment right now was happening? What if? When you ask those questions sincerely, you unlock the door between make-believe and reality. Actually, that reminds me of something that happened earlier in my career. Okay, a long time ago, I think I've talked about this before. I played Lucy in Dracula twice, and I am obviously not an English woman with red hair and fair skin and an English accent. But I stepped into that role and thought to myself, what if this were my reality? So much so that when I went to the audition that my friend was casting this play, and he wasn't going to give me an audition because he just thought of me as his Latina friend, but he did, and he thought it was a courtesy audition doing me a favor. But I did my makeup, I wore a wig, I did an impeccable English accent, and I just lived in what if this were really my life. I cried real tears at the drop of a hat, had a great English accent, and I booked the role and I played it twice. But I wasn't trying to do any of those things. I wasn't trying to act as if those things like in a fake way. I was trying to step into those shoes. Actually, I did step into those shoes as if it were my reality. I ended up booking it twice with the same director. I wasn't trying to cry. I wasn't trying to act. I just stepped into her shoes, and as though this was really my reality. Now, to me, that's the magic if. So what can you do? Begin by asking yourself, what if this were me in this situation? The magic if turns fear into curiosity. Instead of trying to force emotion, you invite it. Instead of saying, I can't cry on cue, you begin asking, what if my world just ended? What if my world just ended and your imagination answers? And that's where the truthful acting begins. Stanislavski students didn't rehearse by pretending. They rehearsed by investigating. What if this were me? What if I had lived their life, faced their choices, carried their wounds? The deeper your if, the stronger your belief becomes. Meisner called these imaginary circumstances. He wanted actors to focus completely on the reality of doing, not thinking. You simply live inside the magic if, the moment by moment until it becomes your home. I have said in previous lessons that I think that acting is one big game of make-believe. But at some point, even the best make-believers have to let go and just live in the moment as though it's truthfully happening. And those the best actors, those the ones we want to watch again and again in every movie they ever make. Here we go. Those are the performances we never forget. Now, I told myself I was going to show you the difference between pretending and living in the magic if. Let's play a little game instead. If you're working on a monologue or a scene or really anything you've pulled, and if you're just meeting me, you can also go to myactingbooks.com and it's my Amazon storefront where I keep all my favorite scene books and monologue books, and you can get something from there. If you're one of my students, you already have material assigned. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to read through your scene, maybe just a few lines at first, maybe one beat, then stop. The first time, I want you to show me your acting. Really exaggerate it. Pretend. Perform. Be huge. Make sure I know exactly what you're feeling. Then do it again. This time, don't show me anything. Take all the fake away. It's not for me, it's for you. I want you to sit with every beat, every word, every thought, and simply live in it as though, wow, this really is me. My current acting coach, Amy Lyndon, calls this marinating. Really marinate in the truth of the scene for yourself, what it all means to you. Her book, The 15 Guidelines Map to Booking, is also linked in the description. Try this exercise now. Pause the video if you need to. Then come back. Okay. If you pause the video, how did that feel? Did it affect you differently? Did the first version feel a little stiff, a little forced? I know I can always tell when I'm not fully invested. My body feels a little tight. My breathing doesn't feel real. Everything feels just a little mechanical. One of my mentors recently called me out on a moment in a short film I made, calling it cringe. I was embarrassed, but the truth was he was right. Don't fall in love with the feeling of feeling something. Just be truthful and be brave enough to only live in what's truthfully there and let it breathe. But don't force it. When I truly let go, when I completely am invested in the moment, which truthfully is sometimes few and far between, my whole body relaxes. Everything becomes easier. The breathing becomes natural. The thoughts begin to happen on their own. So, tell me, how did this change for you? What was the difference between the first version, where you really were muscling it up and trying to act, and the second version, where you simply sat inside the shoes of the character and asked yourself, what if this were me in this situation? I'd really love to know. Here's your practice for the week. Choose a short scene and do this. Do this work with every single beat, every line, every moment. Ask yourself, what if this was my imaginary world and I'm living in it? That's your magic if. Play the scene while fully committed to that imaginary world. Live inside those circumstances. Don't try to perform the emotion. Simply ask yourself, what if this really were happening to me? Watch how much more truthful the scene begins to feel. We'll work on this together in class if you're one of my students. And if you are following along on YouTube, try it anyway. Then come back and tell me how it went. Remember, when you trust the magic if, you stop performing. You start existing. Existing in a world that is both imagined and entirely real. If is the starting point of all truthful art. Stanislavski said that. I like that. Okay, actors, you know what I'm going to ask next? What changed the most for you today? Or what was the one thing you learned that you didn't already know? Your mission this week is simple. Believe deeper. That's really what the magic if is asking us to do. Believe. Not pretend. Believe deeper. That's where truthful acting begins. Don't forget, I'm Dawnnie Mercado, and you can study with me on Zoom if you like. There are links at the top of my channel and down in the description. You can study with me through charter funds, or you can pay directly. Or you can keep learning right here on YouTube, absolutely for free. You want to know what's coming next? Let's take a sneak peek. hit the notification bell and or watch the video that pops up next, because when it's ready, episode 6 will be linked there. If it's not yet ready, I'll link the playlist and something that will help you until the episode 6 is ready. Okay? I'll see you in the next one.